We don't get stronger by just doing nothing. We get stronger by going through something really hard. Give your emotional pain as much grace and love as you give your physical pain. I like to say that I'm really good at living with chronic illness.
I am going to guest star for the last question.
Hello, my friends. Welcome here. I'm Aimee Esther. I live with multiple chronic illnesses. If it's your first time here, it's nice to see you. I have POTS, EDS, Lyme disease, lots of problems in lots of places. Today, I have Q&A part 2. I live with multiple chronic illnesses. You can learn about all my things on my channel. And I have a community for people who live chronically ill. It's only $9 a month. It's where we meet together every single week, multiple times a week, to talk about chronic illness, how we manage it, and how we manage our brains and the emotions that come up with chronic illness, because it is not just a physical battle, it is a mental battle too. So we're doing that together over in the community. I will coach you through any of the struggles that you're dealing with, and everything's linked below for that. All right, so let's jump into the questions. Would you talk about changing meds over time, their side effects, and how to distinguish them from a flare when they happen at the same time? How even doctors fail to recognize that non-adjusting meds in particular settings can cause aggravation of symptoms. Something that I personally do with my health is I try to take information from lots of different places. I don't just say, you are my doctor, so I'm going to trust everything you say. I take their advice, but I also have things that I know about my body, things that I believe in and don't want to do. So, all that being said, is there's not a straightforward answer as to when or how to adjust your meds. This particular question asked how to distinguish them from a flare when they happen at the same time. Okay, is it my diet? Is it my stress levels? Is it that I didn't sleep well? Is it my medication? Is it that I'm just having a flare for no reason? I think that's really, really difficult. And for me, the main thing that I do is I just look for patterns. So if I notice a pattern in hey, I feel worse for a couple days and then I start to feel better again and then it comes back and it seems more of a wave, it's probably my normal illness. Or it's something to do with food or other lifestyle things. But when I notice I'm trending downward, then it's probably something to do with a medication or something more long-term that I'm doing. So for me, I look at what I know. I try to notice what I can control and what I can't control. My biggest advice would be to write down your patterns, write down the times and the moments that you flare more and when your symptoms get worse. Take them to a professional, of course, but also try to notice what you can on your own so that you can be your best advocate when you do go to the doctor. All right, the next question says, have your symptoms changed over time, the flare frequency, the need to adjust meds, overall have improvement, stay the same or worse? Give an idea of how, please give an idea of how it is over time. Yeah, I think over time it's gonna change. I think for me, for example, when I had babies and I wasn't sleeping at night, my illness was different. When I was pregnant, it was different. When the seasons change, it's different. When this whole winter we've had virus after virus, my illness is different. So yes, it's changed over time. My frequency changes over time. I've had to adjust meds and medication and supplements and all of those things. And that's just part of the illness, which is so unfortunate and so not fun. But for me, I've seen times where it's gotten better, times where it's gotten worse. And it kind of comes back to what I was talking about with the first question, which is noticing your patterns. And when I notice those patterns, then I'm not so upset when the weather changes and I get a migraine, because I've noticed, oh yeah, there was a drop in the barometric pressure. Now I know that pattern gives me migraines, if that makes sense. So the more you get to know your illness and your body, then you can have expectations of, okay, winter's really hard for me, or summer, whatever. For me, summer's really hard. I just know I'm going to be flaring most of the summer. That's just kind of how it is. But I know that I will get through that and things will get better, if that makes sense. So yes, it changes year to year, it changes week to week, but it's hard to say exactly because I don't even remember what it was like 2 years ago. I have an idea, but I can't physically go to that body and compare it to now. Overall, I feel better. Could it be that I'm emotionally better? Could it be that I'm physically better? Could it be a combination of all of it? Most likely the latter. So the next one says, thank you for being with all of us, helping. Oh, you're a brave and beautiful soul. Thank you. That wasn't a question, but I'm grateful for you. Okay, there's a few questions in here that just deserve their own video, so I am going to skip those ones. I promise I'll try to come back to them in a future video, but I just think the time it would take to answer the whole question would take 20 minutes. So, what do you recommend for those having an emotionally hard time of a new diagnosis of severe POTS? Adjusting to a strict lifestyle change can be daunting. Yeah, 100%. It's so freaking hard. And my biggest advice is to give your emotional pain as much grace and love as you give your physical pain. Sometimes we see physical pain and we say, well, I'm in physical pain, so I can't do X, Y, or Z. I can't work anymore. I can't do the dishes. I can't whatever. And we give ourselves grace because it's valid. And then our emotional pain of, I can't be motivated to get out of bed because I'm so angry at my body, and I'm depressed because I'm having to change my lifestyle, and we tell ourselves, no, we shouldn't feel that way, or we should be able to just push through it. No, we need to give ourselves just as much grace and love on that pain as we do the physical pain, because they're both very, very difficult to deal with. This is the whole reason I have my community, so come join us there if you want to talk about the emotional side of chronic illness. So when it comes to adjusting to, you said, strict lifestyle changes, I would, first of all, make sure you know what that means. Because sometimes we say, oh, I have this huge adjustment, and it just feels overwhelming because we haven't written it down and seen the list of what actually it is. Are we changing our diet? Are we changing what we do at the end of our day? Are we changing our work? Are we changing our relationships? Like, what exactly is changing? And I would write all those things down. And these are the things that I'm going to be doing that are going to help my condition and are going to be an adjustment for me. And I like to use the analogy of when I had a baby, I didn't know what I was doing. I took classes. It did not help me. It is one of those things where until you experience it, nobody can prepare you for it. And it was a huge adjustment from just me and my husband to now I have a baby that 24/7 needs me. It was just a complete life change, but then over time you get used to it, and now I can't imagine not having my kids as 24/7 part of my life, right? And although chronic illness is not a fun change, it is not a good change, it is a really hard change, it's the same idea where you have to get used to it, and you're going to learn things, and in a few years, you're going to be the one who is giving advice to people who are newly diagnosed with POTS. Right now, you're learning a new skill. You basically have this new job that is 24/7, and it's a POTS job, and you have to learn everything on the job, and that's how you're going to learn it best. And it's going to take some time. Give yourself some grace, give yourself some love, but what I do know is that you are going to be the expert on POTS. I like to say that I'm really good at living with chronic illness. I'm really good at living with POTS. And right now, that's a skill that you haven't learned yet, and you're going to learn it, and you're going to be a professional at living with POTS. Do you want to be that way? Of course not, and you don't, it's not a fun thing, but if you remind yourself, like, this is a skill you are learning, it's a skill of living with POTS, and you're going to be the best at it, the best ever, and people are going to come to you for advice soon. Right now, it's just change. And change is hard, and change is scary, and with POTS, it's extra painful. What I know about POTS, and every single person that I've talked to who has POTS, is that it makes you stronger. We don't get stronger by just doing nothing. We get stronger by going through something really hard, and that's what you're doing, and it's going to refine you and make you into the best version of you. I wish it didn't have to be with pain, but it is, so let's do it the best we can. The next question says, would you ever want to be pregnant again with another baby? I have had a total hysterectomy. That is not possible. Even if I could, I'm not sure we would ever. We feel very content with our family, and I feel very content with everything, but it is actually not even possible anyway, so if we were ever to grow our family, it would have to be in a different way. However, that's not in the plan. Why do you charge for your community? Shouldn't it be free for people who live chronically ill? Oh, well, here's the thing. If you want to make a free community for people who live chronically ill, go for it. That sounds like a great idea, but it is so much work. If it's not for you, it's not for you. That's okay. You don't have to pay. You don't have to come join, but it's only $9 a month. Okay, this last question is actually for my husband. So I'm going to go see if I can find him, see if he wants to jump in. I'll be right back.
All right, and I am going to guest star for the last question, which is how to cope in seasons of burnout for supporting your spouse, and how do you show more compassion, empathy, and sympathy? That's a really good question because you do definitely burn out. That's the thing about chronic illnesses, because it never really goes away. You never get to a point where you can sort of like relax the muscle. You know what I mean? And you definitely burn out. You burn out in service, you burn out in, emotionally, right? Just trying to care can be difficult at times, especially when it's the, 10,000th time you've heard that, oh, I'm just not feeling very good right now, or, oh, I just didn't get around to it because I forgot, or my brain doesn't work, and oh man, why am I so sick? It can be hard to keep that level of empathy that you should have. So here's my advice. If you ever get to that point, the most important thing you can do is communicate that. Not in a rude way. Don't say, hey, I'm sick of hearing you say this. Just say, I want to empathize with you. I want to help, but it's difficult for me to relate and to sort of keep up that emotional availability for you. So if possible, is there something that we can do about that? And you talk and you figure out like, hey, what's something that would sharpen the saw for you? What's something that could help you both by helping either one or the other of you? Sometimes Aimee knows that I just need a minute, right? And if I'm just not feeling it and I'm just like, you know what, I can't deal with this right now. What can we do to sort of help you autopilot through the next hour or two while I go on a drive, or I go take care of a project that I haven't been able to get to, or clean my office, or just do something that is more about me and my desires. That helps a lot. And I'm not saying that you need to be pulling that ripcord all the time. Hopefully you don't have to do it very much at all. And hopefully you are getting good time to yourself. And time to sort of make sure that the caretaker is being taken care of, right? But I would say that just making sure that there is a communication taking place so that when those events do happen, you do start to recognize that compassion fatigue, that you're taking care of it, that you're doing something about it instead of just letting it sort of languish inside you. All right, and since Aimee's not here to say it, I'll say it for her. Like, comment, and subscribe, please. Support her channel. She appreciates it so much, and the more support she has on this end, the more she's able to give back to the community. And we want everybody to know about her and about her story and the stories of all the people who follow, so that we can build a network of support for people with chronic illness. Thank you.